Hey guys, it is me, Simone, and I'm going to do a project walkthrough with you guys. So I'm going to keep you updated on the transactions and steps I make to make this book. So I've done a lot already, but I thought I would come in and walk you through some steps. I do a lot of things on this channel, but right now I am making I'm making a recipe book for a friend of mine who just graduated high school. We became friends at my job. I work at a pizza place, and he is a good friend that I've had since I started working there. You know, we joke around and have fun. So since he is a baker, I thought it'd be cool to give him a little recipe book to use. I am kind of old-fashioned. I like having like my phone and stuff, but a lot of times I'm just known to print my recipes off and put them in a book and write them out and decorate them, then to keep them on my phone, because I don't know, I like the idea of looking through paper and not having to keep turning my phone on or keep my laptop on. It's like the recipe, if I'm watching a video or listening to a video while I'm cooking or things like that. I like having a piece of paper that's just there, it doesn't turn off, it doesn't do anything like that. So I've done a lot of stuff off camera, so I'll just go through the steps of this book. The book I made with some, what's it called, mat board. Then I covered it in this paper. This paper is from Hobby Lobby. On top of it, I cut out some feathers out of cereal boxes with my dies from AliExpress, and I stacked them and then laid the paper over and kind of pressed down so they kind of peek through. The little shininess you see is my DIY wax paste. I edged them a little bit with some, I think I used this one. This is the Carvo ink and coffee from the Letter It kit. I just want to try them. I might go over with some vintage photo, and this paper is from some pack of my stash. I forgot. I think it's like a pack from Colorblock. So I've already done a lot of the things inside of it. The binding, I'm using a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. This is some paper from Michaels. In here is the finished paper. It's more like cool colored in my view than what it is, but it looks like it's tea-dye, but it's actually not. It's actually sprayed with some ink. Ink sprays. This one is using the Dharma something ink sprays, I can't remember the name, that I put in a bottle, and I just put a bunch of water in it because you really don't need much, and I use those to make my spray. I use a lot. This thing was actually full, but I use a lot when I make this because I do spray it pretty heavily. So that's it, and I've gone on some of the edges and with some vintage photo to give the edges some distressed look. But after I did 2 signatures, I realized I really need 3 because there's too much of a gap between these 2 signatures. So I want to do 3 real quick. Someone keeps texting me or something. Alright, so let me show you how this is going to go. Oh, the last thing I did up to date, with you guys up to date with me, is I made some recipe cards. These is just made out of some cardstock. I don't know which one I used. I have a lot of cardstock in my room. I went over with vintage photo. I stamped on these little lines here, and then of course you know, edge them. This is the stamp I used. Don't ask me the name, I don't know. This is a really old stamp that I got off of the site. It might be an Inka Dinka Doo stamp set from like umpteen years ago by a specific designer. I don't know. I can't help you with that, guys. So that's gonna go in there. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. And I have my guide for how to punch the holes, which I keep around. Okay, so let's move on to making this book. I'm going to speed things up and just show you this once because one, it's hot in my room and I don't want the fan noise because it's pretty loud for the camera. So I get 2 pieces of paper because this paper is very thin. You can do 1 or you can do 4, however thick you want it to be, but you're just going to be writing on it with pen or pencil, so I think 2 pages is suffice. So all I do is get one paper I get some glue. Okay. I make a big batch of glue. This container is from the Dollar Tree. So what I do is I literally get my glue. I get a whole bunch. This is from Hobby Lobby. This is like 75 cents. I pour big old glops of it in. Cool. And then I get water. And I water down my glue. And then just stir it up. I thin it down without thinning it too much. It's still a little too thick. Hold on, get a little more water. That's fine. And this might look like a lot of glue that I'm making. It really isn't though. This is gonna get used to it pretty quick. Okay. Clean that off, move that away. Get started. So I've been loving this brush that I got from Hobby Lobby when they had their little first markdown. This was only like some $2. Look back at my Hobby Lobby hauls. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the price, but I think this brush original price is like $10. I think I got it for 2 or 3, I forgot, but it was a great price. I always want to try it. This is the Finnabar Basics. It's just a silicone brush. I've had smaller ones that I've gotten off at AliExpress, and I've used those before, like this one here, but I like this one because it's really large. I'm just smearing the glue out in a very thin layer. You can play with however you want, thin, thick, medium, whatever. You can use a regular brush. I have regular brushes, but that's just something I like to use. Instead, I'm just going to dip it in and smear it out. That's why I want my glue to be thin and not thick, because it's easier to spread out. Now, you want to put some paper down or something, because this is going to get messy, because I'm going to the edges and everything to make sure my pages here properly. I'm only doing one paper. I know people do like glue to glue, but this will be way too messy to glue this paper and then get the other paper and nope. So you're gonna do glue to paper. Don't do glue to glue unless your glue is thicker. You can do one page at a time, like one part of the page at a time, or whatever you want to do. I line it up somewhat. My lineup is not precise at all, but I don't really care. My pages are going to be 5 by 8 1/4. That's how they turn out. So a lot of this is going to be trimmed away. So if it's not 100% even, to me it doesn't matter. But you need to see what size your pages are going to be before you can be as cavalier as I am. So that's basically all I'm going to do all these pages, and then when I do all that, I'll come back and show you. Okay? Alright guys, I am back. We glued all the pages together. I totally forgot I had an extra page left. So I was only supposed to do 4 pages, but I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got an extra page. Now this is what it's going to look like. It's more brown in person, but my camera is like making it seem a lot nice brown. Let's see. And that's like a closer feel, but yeah, it's really dingy. So how to get this effect? It is sprayed on. You can do 2 methods. You can let the paper dry from being glued and then spray it, or keep it wet where the ink will kind of spread out more. The other thing is I have a glass surface, so to get it to not look as like I just sprayed it on here, I sometimes spray my glass desk, spray it, and then I plop it on like a jelly print. Like that. Since I don't want to keep waiting for all the drying time, and I'm really excited to get to decorating time, I'm going to make more first, and then I'm going to show you how to do this. I have 16 minutes on this little on this SD card. Yeah, that's it. So I want to hurry this up. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't find the container. This is really why it should be organized. So I can't make any more. So we're gonna have to use this with care. This is why you should be organized. Don't be like Simone. Alright. I'm just gonna spray it. The page is still wet from the glue and the water, so it should soak in a little bit. And when it dries, it doesn't look like this. You can always do it like a fine mist over it before you spray it, if you want to make sure. And yes, I just flipped it over on top of the other page because I wanted to. This actually helps it out too. Doesn't get that splotchy sprayed look, because you're kind of softening up the little spray splats and stuff. You can do it from far away or close up. If you want to, you can even spray it slowly to get, you know, big old drops. It's up to you guys. Did I already spray this? I don't know. Done. Yay. Made it. So I'm gonna let that dry. Then I'm gonna clean off my table. Alright, once I get back, I'm gonna cut those pages down to size and we're going to sew them in. Okay, and I'm gonna change SD cards because this one is 6 minutes from being full. Okay, be back. Alright, we're back. So I got our paper, they're all dry, and now it's time to trim them. I'm looking for my trimmer right now. Oh my gosh, my room is a mess. I have so many projects going on at one time. It is crazy. But you will start seeing that. I'm gonna do some things on Instagram. You know, I'm trying to finish up everything for the Happy Mail collaboration and send it out to my partner and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot going on, and my room is suffering for that. But let's get started with everything. Since the paper is mostly dry, I mean, I got a couple wet spots here. I'm going to go and fold them and then trim them. So I don't really line it up too well because most of it's going to be trimmed off. You just want to make sure the top and the bottom are lined up, you know, nicely. And look at that. When I do glue these together though, I do make sure that they're both facing the right direction. Like, you know, this big old space here is on the top of both of them. You don't have to, you can switch it up, whatever you want to do. It's your journal. And I do let them dry a little bit weird. Sometimes they were curling up because I have my fan on. So I do have to do a little bit of scoring because that's fine. Okay. Because when I did glue these together, I didn't like put them the same direction. Like when you take the paper out of the composition notebook, it's already folded like this, but when I glue them together, I didn't always fold them together like this. Sometimes I glue them together like this, so them folded 2 different directions. It depends on what you want to do, but I love having composition notebook paper around. You can get different ones, different qualities. Yup. Alright, now let me make sure I got my measurement for my journal right. I think it's 5 by something. Ruler. Okay, so it's gonna be, is that 8 1/4? Give or take, by 4, 5. Okay, so let's get this started. Ooh, almost made a big mistake. So this needs to be 5. I'm gonna cut both sides at the same time. You can do like leave it out and cut it however you want to. It's up to you. But what I do is just go over a couple times. Mostly just like takes like 1 time to do it. And I normally cut it from the bottom to keep this part on here, like the wide part, so it doesn't look too different. I said a 4th, right? Great. But you can do whatever you want when it comes to this. And I'm just gonna go through and cut all these. Switched out my SD card, so I can record a little bit longer and I don't have to be worrying about this thing shutting off at a certain time here, because this is supposed to be like a written journal. Alright, so after I got all of that done, we're going to go to make a signature. A signature is basically just a gathering of paper that is bound. So I'm going to put all the paper in like this. Each signature has 5 pages in it. You can, what's the word? Round the edges, whatever. Actually, before I put these up, I did do a last minute step on all the other pages, and it's going to be easier if I do it now. I need to edge these babies up, so I'm going to do that real quick.
I'm just doing this part because I did on the other books. So I'm using my new DIY ink daubers. I do like them a lot. They remind me a lot of the Tim Holtz ones, and they're a lot smaller and easy to manage. I hope he likes it. I think it's the only biggest thing I'm nervous to see if he likes it or not.
Give them a little bit of edge. Alright, so now that's all good and dandy. It's time to put them all together and clip them and use our guide. So our guide I made with a piece of paper that cut down to the same height. And what I did, you can use a ruler for this, but I just folded it in half, and then I fold a piece of paper in half. So I folded in half dog way. And then I fold that in half for my first hole, like that. I fold this in half to the center point. My second hole, I want the holes to be in the middle, since I do have I punched out a little eyelet in the top, so I don't want the holes to go all the way to the top. But you can do whatever you want. If you have a ruler, you can do it that way. It's up to you. But this is nice and you know they're even, at least spaced apart. Min's no really measurement. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to get my guide, paper clip them, binder clips come in handy so much for this. I buy so different binder clips because I lose them. I thought I had 2 on my desk. Yeah, it's okay, I can just do this with 1. You know what? Nope. I want 2. You just want to make sure this is like in the center. So you can move it a little bit if you have to. Just get it like in the middle, in the corner. Okay. Cool. And I've already marked the holes here. Spacing them apart. You can't really see that. There you go. See the holes? I made several holes. I was just experimenting with my spacing. You can do some pencil. It's better if you do it in pencil than if you do it in marker or pen, because if you're trying to give this to somebody, you can erase the holes. This one's done with a nice, beautiful pink pen, so it's somewhat noticeable, but I'm not like upset about that. Sorry I'm off camera, but let's make sure I'm cutting these holes. And when I'm making journals for somebody else, I do more like time, let's not say sensitive, but I spend more time on my project when it comes to piercing the holes and lining things up, because when I'm making it for myself, I really don't care about that stuff. And I know I don't really care about that stuff as long as it's bound and it's not going to fall apart. That's all I care about. So let's go down to the binding part. I'm using the pamphlet stitch. So I have this long needle. I got this needle from Dollar Tree. I have this needle from eBay. If I can find it, I'll link it below. I have this wax cord. This is wax cord, not wax thread. Which I use, which I love, and this is from eBay. But you can use whatever you have on hand, as long as it's a sturdy. Alright. So get things bound. And what we need to do is just make sure the holes line up. Sometimes I flip the book around to see. And I make sure my holes are lined. And the pages are facing the right direction. So these are off just a little bit, which is kind of sad. But it's okay. They're off. Yeah, they're off. Yeah, a little bit. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm not upset. So what I'm going to do now is paper clip them to the paper clip one section down so pages don't shift. And I'm using a binder clip for this. If I can get these pages to clamp. Dropped it. Of course it did. Okay. If you've never done anything like this, there's tons of videos online of how to bind a book. I like the pamphlet stitch a lot compared to some other binding methods because it's easy to do a tighter, to make sure your signatures are tight. I have always had a problem making or having tight signatures. These are not as tight as they could be, but they are tight enough for me. So for the pamphlet stitch, I want the thread to be outside. Don't want to be inside, so I'm going to come out. So you're going to do the center or wherever. I don't think you have to do the center. I just do the center. So I'm coming to the center. With my needle. I always have trouble getting this needle through. When I have trouble like this, normally what I'll do, I'll get my awl again and pierce a hole. I pierce through the hole again from the outside in and make the hole a little bit wider. Okay. So it's always the knot that gives me trouble getting through the hole. Okay, so when I go in, I'm going to go to the center. It's a little bit tricky doing this with composition notebook paper because there's like millions of holes in it already, so it's sometimes tricky to find your hole. You can always mark it. I don't. Now once you go through the center, you can't see it, but you can either go to your left or your right, up or down, doesn't matter. It depends on how many signatures I'm doing. I mean how many holes you're doing. I'm doing 3, just the simplest one, but you can do 4. There's a 4, 5. So I'm just gonna go over to the top hole, find that. If you're having trouble getting through all your pages, just go through slowly. That's what I do. So let's say my needle, I was poking my needle through and it wasn't going through our pages. I just started to separate them a little bit so I know why it's not. I don't force it because sometimes you can make new holes doing that. You don't want to. So I'm gonna go back out. Here's my needle. Here I am. Top hole. I'm going to go all the way to the last hole. Make sure you're in a thread. This is when you're gonna pull some thread out. Thread confusion. All the way to the last hole, and I'm gonna go in. Then I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna find my hole. As if I don't force it. Then I'm gonna go down the middle hole again. And that's pretty much it. Cut these. So when you're going to bind this, you want to make sure your signature is in there, and you want to make sure it's flat, and you want to make sure it's tight. What I normally do is I make sure my thread is on the opposite side of the line that you just went down. It's hard to see, but if you look up other pamphlets, you'll see what I'm talking about. But when you bring the thread from the top hole to the bottom hole and skip the middle hole, there's a little line of thread. I always want to do my knot over that thread and not beside it so it can't come through the hole, just as a precaution. Depends on how big your holes are, and for me it just ensures that it'll be tight. So I'm pull as tightly as I can on my thread, do one good knot, and then I'm gonna do another knot, and I'm done. 2 knots. Make sure it's tight, and then I can just unclip at the bottom, do some securing, and that's good. Those are my babies. 3 signatures. So you open my book up. There's still a gap here, and there's a gap here too. If you wanted to, you can make like this 5 signature book. I'm not doing all that. What you can do is you can cover this with some paper, which I will do, and I'll show you how I do this. And you can just cover this with some paper so it doesn't look too noticeable, but it's up to you. You can actually plan this out, get better spacing, but I think it looks nice on the back and everything. All my thread pieces. All right, I think that's everything I want to show you. So I'm gonna keep decorating, and I'll come back and check in with you guys, because I think right now I'm going to go through and I'm going to number all these pages. I'm not going to take you through that. I'll show you that when I'm done. So I'll be back.